Hi, and welcome to Twin Cities Real Estate Rhetoric. My name is Tom Summers, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Tovi Muma. Hi, Tovi.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning to you. I wanted to extend a big thank you and welcome to all the folks who are tuning in to either listen to us on iTunes or watch us on Facebook, YouTube, wherever else we have this posted. The purpose of this is we are two licensed real estate agents in the state of Minnesota, and our intention is to give you, as a buyer or seller, good information, teach you something, and entertain you at the same time. So I hope that you stay with us here. We've got a lot of great stuff to share with you. We're going to jump right into episode 2 here, which is selling your home. Tovi, take it away.
Take it away. First thing you need to do is interview a couple different realtors. I'd suggest 1 to 3 realtors, have them out to your home, discuss with them your wants and needs, in an initial meeting, and have them tell you what they're going to do to help you sell your home.
Yeah, good point. And I also want to point out that both of us are full-time professional licensed real estate agents. That's what you need to look for. Please don't hire someone that works part-time.
Right.
Because that can create a big problem, and it actually does happen where they're like, well, we can't talk to you till after 5 o'clock today because that's when our shift ends.
Right.
And we want to avoid that. So that's the best advice I can give you. But it's going to be a long personal relationship, and you have to trust this person with the largest investment that you have, or most people have. So you want to make sure that that person is professional and competent.
Yep. And you know what? And one thing I will just say is I have talked with clients before. They have told me that they've worked with a realtor in the past that had their house listed, and they maybe talked with them once a month or something like that. So you want to make sure you're asking questions too and saying, how often are you going to contact me and that kind of stuff. So anyway.
Yeah, and set up your expectations and say, because some people will say to me, look, I don't want to see you. I don't want to talk to you until you have an offer for my house. I'm fine with that. And I have other people who want, emails on a regular basis, phone calls, and they like all the market material. We can handle any way you want, but you have to set up the expectations. You're in the driver's seat as a seller, and you're the person who's doing the hiring.
Right.
So let's say that someone has now chosen a realtor. The next thing that the agent will do is do the CMA. And this may seem backwards, I think, to some people, but the important thing to note here is that, like we said, you're hiring an agent based on who you think is going to get the job done. The market is what it is. We may be able to get you more money for your home percentage-wise because we're marketing better than maybe some of our competition. But we also have to work with the comps that are out there that the appraisers are going to use when they are looking at the saleability of your home.
Exactly. So CMA, that's a competitive market analysis, is something that we're going to put together for you. And it's actually something that is good to put together after actually seeing your home. A decent realtor out there is going to be very familiar with your area, probably familiar with the homes that are for sale in your area. And so then putting together a competitive market analysis, bringing it to you and sharing it with you is the next step would be step number 2.
Yeah, and you want to be able to see as a seller, I think, all of the competition, because that will really drive home to you where your value is. The market's not going to lie, and we can't control it. It is what it is.
And one thing I also want to mention about CMAs, or just about the finding a realtor in general, is there's some people that I went on appointments, listing appointments, and they're saying, well, I'm either going to go with the realtor or I'm just going to do it on my own. But I did it before, in 2001, 2002, but that was a totally different market. You didn't even have to market your house then. People just came in. So nowadays you do have to market your house. You do have to, you're going through the contracts. You're going through the offers. You're going through counter offers. There's just a whole bunch more
stuff to do. Well, yeah, and you can't afford to have someone who's just going to stick a sign in the yard and disappear on you.
Right.
There's marketing that's involved from an internet standpoint as well as traditional. So absolutely, I think that's a really good point, and another thing for you to consider when you're talking to agents to make that decision. So after you have determined the price and you have your, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I do have one more thing I want to add to that.
Sure, no.
The competitive market analysis. I know a lot of people too, you guys can go out online. You can go to what are they? Trulia, Zillow,
Any different
Realtor,
website.
right? And go to any different website, and you can find the sale prices. It's like, well, I know what it sold for. It sells right here what it sold for. But in actuality, there's a lot of things you may not know in the sale price, and that's one thing that, thank goodness, us realtors can keep sacred to us is if there's closing costs involved. You know, so say a house sells for $100,000, but you don't see that the seller contributed $10,000 to closing costs. It really only sold for $90,000. So that's the kind of information you can't get online.
True. Plus, I think a lot of the websites can be inaccurate too because they're going on tax-based value and they're getting a third-party information. It's not directly from the MLS. And again, I've preached this on some of my other webcasts in the past that we as licensed agents are the only people in the country that can access the actual MLS, which is the multiple listing service. Everything else is a watered-down version of it. Any other website you go to. So that's where our value is. So no, good point. So let's say you know, as a seller, you've decided, okay, I'm going to make the plunge. I'm going to sell my house. So then the next step would be to prepare your house. So we can talk about, you know, the value of staging or not staging, and everyone's got different opinions. But when it comes to preparing your home for sale, Tovi, what do you typically tell your sellers?
Well, you know what? I just, I truly believe that you want it to look probably like kind of like a model home, or to look like depersonalize it. And I know some people are like, oh no, keep all the personalization in it. But you know what? It's like I say, just box up stuff. If you have collectibles, box them up and stuff like that. You're going to be moving anyway. Why not just start packing it now and just make it as clutter-free as possible?
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because I can tell you from experience that houses that I've had listed that are clean and organized with the least amount of clutter do sell faster and for a better price, because you don't know who that buyer is and what their expectations are. So you literally, unfortunately, have to kind of live in a little bit of a fishbowl where you're going to be scrutinized, but it will pay off. So sometimes you don't have to go out and get an expensive person to do some remodeling or staging. Not that that's bad to use a stager, but sometimes literally just a fresh coat of paint, cleaning the carpet, and putting all the junk away that you don't use on a regular basis. And then also small things like using WD-40 on the locks, so that when someone comes through the front door the first time, it's a good experience, and like, okay, well, golly, we can't even get the door open, so what else is wrong with the house?
Exactly.
It's like
first impressions.
Yeah, and it's silly to think that, but people do, and that's their first, that it lasts. You know, and making sure that you look at the outside of your house, that if you have a bunch of cobwebs, like as we all do from the fall, for instance, that you're washing that stuff off and making it as clean looking as you approach that home as possible. So we as agents also will give you a list. So we'll sit down with you and go through the house and say, okay, these are the issues that we think that you should address before you get your home on the market. It's up to you as the seller whether you want to do those or not. But we're not trying to pick you apart. All we're trying to say is, look, this is what we're hearing from the buyers that we take out every single day. So if we can give you an advantage by sharing with you inside information that the buyers are sharing with us, why wouldn't you take it?
Exactly. Very good. So that's preparing your home. And sometimes it could take a week, sometimes it can take 3 weeks to get it ready. But I really do think that you want to get it in the perfect order before you even put it on, because once you put it on, then you have 3-4 weeks, and that's going to be your most activity. Might as well be in perfect condition. Yeah,
and you don't want to chase the market from the beginning. And that old saying about you never get a second chance at a first impression is so true when it comes to real estate, don't you think?
Exactly. Yes, it is. Very much so.
So then after you've worked your way through that, then it's a matter of timing and when you're going to put the house on the market. And the one thing I want to mention about listing the home that we didn't discuss here off air was the fact that houses in Minnesota sell year-round. And yes, it's stronger market in the spring, but it doesn't mean that if you're watching this and it's kind of fall at this point and you're thinking about selling, that it's bad time. If you look at the sales historically in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, November, December, and January, we sell almost 20% of the homes for the year. That's pretty good. It's just when you're looking at May and June, it's 10, 11, 12%. So it is higher. But remember, the more people that you have listing their home, the more competition you have, even if there's more buyers.
Exactly. Never a bad time to list your home.
Right, and so then that goes into the whole thing about where we, what we do as agents with regards to helping you figure out your timing. Because maybe you're sitting in early January going, okay, well, I want to sell it in the spring. Well, sometimes the spring market starts for us as real estate agents the second week in January.
Exactly.
Every year is different. So again, that's our guidance helping you.
Right.
Once your house is listed, the big thing is making a big splash with the marketing.
Yep.
So we're not going to go into a great amount of detail. This is where the rubber meets the road, and this is where I think you can really size up one agent versus another is with their marketing plan.
Exactly.
So that's something you just need to sit down and talk to that particular agent face-to-face. But Tovi, can you share with everybody a little bit about what a marketing plan is?
Well, the marketing plan is just, I'm going through with you, we're gathering the information about your property and other information on other properties out there, helping you, get the house on the market, photographs, getting the house on the MLS, arranging showings. I'm trying to think of what else. Some people do brochures, put the sign in the yard. All of that is kind of, marketing.
And it has to work hand in hand. And I also want to make another point too is that you can be as involved or uninvolved as you want as a seller. But I think the one thing that you have to do or you owe to yourself is to take at least a few moments of your time and look at the MLS once the house is on the market and make sure that the photos are right and that the descriptions are correct and everything that is special about your house is included, because it's like buying, I don't know, a can of peas or a pair of shoes. If the presentation of that particular product is wrong, people will just pass you by. So if you have a listing right now in, say, a January, and you still have a picture on the MLS from last summer, shame on you.
Right, exactly. But there's a lot of people that do it, and there's a lot out there. So
and that's a perfect example of marketing right there. Now that's a very easy thing to change, but buyers are so overwhelmed by all their choices that if they see something that looks dated, they're just going to pass you by thinking there's something wrong, and there may not be anything wrong with your home.
No.
But they're going to be like, oh my God, it's been on since last summer. Well, that's not necessarily that long in certain markets, but you want to stay current.
Right. Yep. Exactly. So that's something we could go through with you at a presentation. So.
Absolutely. So then once we get to that point where we've marketed your home and you get an offer, then, you go through the whole thing about negotiating the offer and get everything to close. We're not going to go through all of that today. We just kind of wanted to give you a feel for, okay, if you're going to sell your home, here's the first basic steps to get you started.
Right.
Tovi, do you want to add anything so far here that we didn't cover in this episode?
I don't think so. I think really no. The marketing, that's the one thing that anybody that if you're selling your home, you really want to find out what the marketing plan is and what that agent is going to do for you, and go online, look at their listings, look at how they've marketed stuff in the past, and see.
And case the point here is look at what we're doing. You're watching a video of us talking about listing a home. And if you think that buyers aren't watching our other videos, you're kidding yourself. There are not a lot of agents who are doing this right now. I have a feeling there will be more down the road, but we're trying to be out of the box thinkers here. And we're going to do things for you that other agents just either can't do or won't do. So just to wrap up, I want to also mention we've had a really good response here on that first episode, so thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
We also would love to hear from you. So if you have any questions about real estate that you'd like us to answer on one of these programs, let us know. You don't have to post it on the Facebook page. You can send us an email. You can send us a private message, anything. But we would love to hear from you. We'd like to know what you think, and we'd love ideas for future episodes as well. So, thank you so much. We appreciate the support. Any last words, Tovi?
No, this is fun though.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hopefully people that are watching this are having fun with it as well, and we're not just like talking to no one.
Right.
So, but we'll see. So, thank you again so much, everybody, for tuning in, and look for us next time on Twin Cities Real Estate Rhetoric. We can be found on our Facebook page, Twin Cities Real Estate Rhetoric, and check us out. Thanks.
Thank you.
See ya.
See ya.